G'day trendsetters, how are you today? It's Easter Sunday and I am meant to be somewhere else planting garlic, but we've had 8 mils of rain over the last couple of days and might be just a little bit wet. Hopefully tomorrow I'll get over there and plant garlic, but today I'm going to go through the ins and outs of propagating box hedge. This one in particular is Buxus japonica, or Japanese box. I think it's the best of the boxes for my climate. English box doesn't do all that good here. This Japanese box is fairly fast growing. It does have this lovely soft new growth. It's also tough as nails once established. Do nothing with these guys. They're in the ground. We just went through probably one of the worst droughts Toowoomba has had for quite a long time, and these ones also went through the previous worst drought we had for a long time back in the early 2000s. So fantastic plant, fantastic hedging plant. The reason why I'm taking the cuttings is I want to make some of those little, I'm not even sure what they call them, but the spirally type topiaries in a pot. And I've also seen photos where they just grow a ball and it looks like the ball's just sitting in top of the pot. So I want to try a couple of those, and maybe a couple of those 3-tiered ball type topiary things. Just a bit of playtime in the garden. But what I need is some new box plants. I could run out and buy them, but 20 plants at probably $15. What's that? $300. I'll just take cuttings and take my time. Like I say, they are fairly quick growing, so 3 to 4 years time, which just does sound like a long time, I'll have something resembling some sort of a topiary. Anyhow, we'll take some cuttings. I'll show you the potting mix, the propagating media that I use, and we'll get cracking, we'll get stuck into it. When selecting your cuttings, especially this time of year now, I'm in mid-autumn, probably a little bit late summer, early autumn would be better, but I'll still get away with it. So here I have 3 types of cuttings. So these ones here are what you call really softwood, soft tip cuttings. Use them in spring, not in autumn. This one here is semi, so it's still fairly soft. Probably get away with, you'd cut the tip off and you'd get away with the lower part. And then over here you've got even more mature wood. So this would have grown in early summer, and it's hardened off quite nice. Still flexible and quite bendy, but a nice dark green compared to the others. So this is what we're looking for. The wood below, that's what you call a hardwood cutting. Very rarely use that when you're taking cuttings of Japanese box. We'll be mainly looking for these semi-hardwood cuttings. So, all we do now is get probably the best tool you'll ever buy if you're a gardener, some Felco secateurs, and want a cutting between 3 to 4 inches or 75, 100 mils, and we'll cut just below a leaf node, and a leaf node for the uninitiated is just below where the leaf attaches to the stem. So it's a leaf node. Alright, so that's one. I can fit 10 into a 150 ml pot. Here's another one back here, that's a nice cutting. Another one behind it. Alright, I'll just keep going. I'll meet you over at the propagation bench. Okay, just one thing I noticed you probably wouldn't expect on a box, but this has got little flowers on it. Alright, so if you see these little flowers on your box hedge, you don't want to use them for cuttings. And just over here, in between the leaf axils there's little growths, but these will be leaf buds, so that'll be fine. So no to the flowers, yes to the leaf buds. So we'll take you over to the workbench where I've got materials that we'll need. I'll show you how to prepare the cutting and what we need to do to get the best possible strike rate or root strike rate. So let's go. I'm going to use some sifted premium potting mix, 2/3 to 1/3 play sand, but it's just washed river sand. It's fairly fine, and that'll hold a little bit more moisture around the cutting and help it to strike roots. The reason for sifting I'll show you. With the standard potting mix, it still has some quite big particles in it, bark and whatever, so I just like to sift them out. Composted bark mainly, from what I can see, but yeah, those particles are just a bit big to be in a propagating mix. And the sand just helps fill in the gaps and keeps it all just a little bit more moist. Mix it up and we're ready to go. Rooting hormone gel, well, I like to use the gel. There's powders, there's all different forms. This is a softwood and for softwood and semi-hardwood cuttings. I like the gel because I find it sticks better to the cuttings. A dibbler for just making a little hole with cuttings, which we've already been through. Propagation mix, which I've again addressed, is 2/3 sifted compost, 1/3 playground sand and secateurs. Now, because you'll be doing thousands of these, there is a way, if you hold the top third or so and just get these leaves and wrap the 3 fingers you've got here around the stem and pull quickly, you'll clean the leaves off the stems. Just goes and goes. It doesn't damage the stem in any way. So you need those 3 fingers wrapped fairly firmly around the stem, and then just the leaves just pull off. I could do this all day. I have done this all day. So there's a few. I'll get to the rest. It really is just a simple matter of dipping your cutting into your rooting hormone. Now you only need the bottom third dipped, dibble. We'll put about half of this cutting in, so that's, I'm going to call it 100 mils. So we need about 50 mils of the cutting. That's fine. This one's a little bit shorter. It'll still be fine. I might take an extra leaf off there. Same again, just the bottom third and just half of the cutting. It's fine. Now I know I can fit 10 cuttings into the one. This is a 150 ml pot. I know I can fit 10 cuttings in here because I did it yesterday with another lot I've already taken. So if I get about a 70% strike, I should have 14, 15 odd cuttings, which is more than what I need to do with what I want. Alright, I'll just slip through the rest of these and I'll show you what I do. I'm in bright sunshine here. It's probably not the best situation for taking cuttings, but it's a fairly cool day, so I'm not that worried. But if it was earlier in the season, like late summer, early autumn, it might be a bit hot and I'll be looking for a shady place to do this. Also, before I take the cuttings over to my little makeshift hothouse or greenhouse, if you like, if you've enjoyed this video and like it, find it helpful and useful, please subscribe. I'd deeply appreciate that. And also like and share the video. Let other people know that we're not doing too bad a job here. The reason for the dibbler, I know these are quite a hardy cutting, but the reason for the dibbler is on softer wooded cuttings, you don't damage the base of the plant when you're plunging it in. You can bend it and break it and all sorts of things. It just makes it better. Also, I haven't cut right to the bottom of the node on these plants because these will strike roots internodally, and it's not vitally important, but still close to the bottom of the node is good, and I usually do that when I take the cutting off of the bush anyhow. These can be put in quite closely. They don't establish a super vigorous root system quickly, so it's easy to pull them apart. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. Cool. I've got a supply of rainwater here, so I'll water these with rainwater. I'll try and avoid chlorinated town water. I don't know if it makes any difference, but it's just a personal preference. And I'll take you over to where my little makeshift greenhouse is, show you where I'll hide them for. At this time of year, I think between 5 and 6 weeks, I'll have roots and I'll be able to pot them up after that. We'll see how we go. This is just a plastic storage bin, turned upside down, makes an excellent greenhouse. I've also placed it underneath. I've got a shady trees here. They are going deciduous, but that's not going to matter at this time of year. It's not going to get over hot and harm the cuttings in any way. But that's it, basically, just upside down. These are the ones I've done yesterday. They're looking pretty happy. That's it. Job done.